A city once built with joy was home to a people who had been blessed with every kind of comfort. Their land was rich with flowing springs, green gardens, sweet fruits, and fertile fields. Everything around them showed the blessings of God. But slowly, the hearts of the people began to change. Their sins were no longer hidden. They started committing them openly. The wrongdoing of this nation was so unusual that nothing like it had ever been recorded in human history before. Because of this, God was not pleased with their path, and eventually his decision came upon them. In a single moment, their entire city was turned upside down, becoming a lesson for all generations to come. This nation was the people of Prophet Lut, and their city was called Sodom. In the region between what is now Jordan and Palestine, two famous cities once existed, Soddom and Gomorrah. Sodom was a prosperous place filled with gardens, springs, and strong crops. Dates hung heavily from the trees, fruits were plentiful, and the water of the land was sweet. Yet while the land remained soft and generous, the hearts of its people slowly grew hard. At first, their sins were private acts committed by individuals. But over time, their leaders began to present these actions as something new and exciting.
Them a foolish notion to the spoil.
Gradually, what was once shameful turned into a habit, and then into a social norm. Sin was no longer seen as wrong. Instead, it became part of their culture. People gathered openly in meetings where they mocked the commands of God and treated immoral behavior as entertainment.
Faster, little ones! Ha! They move like camels. More wine over here.
Around this time, in the city of Babylon, Prophet Abraham was spreading the message of God along with his nephew, Prophet Lut. Prophet Lut was among the first people to believe in Abraham. Their bond was not only family, but also faith and mission. Later, by God's command, they migrated from Babylon. According to the Quran, God saved them and guided them to a blessed land, which refers to the region of Syria. Prophet Abraham stayed in one city, while Prophet Lut was sent to guide another community. God appointed him as a prophet for the people of Sodom. When Prophet Lut first entered the city, he saw a place full of color and life. Caravans of trade passed through the markets. Tall houses stood proudly, and the air carried the fragrance of amber and silk. Fields of green stretched across the land, showing the abundance of God's blessings. But as he spent more time among the people, his heart began to feel heavy. What he witnessed was not just sad, it was deeply troubling for a prophet. These people had abandoned the natural way that God created for humanity. Instead of forming families in the natural way, many men began turning toward other men. It was a sin that had never been practiced before in human history. The Quran explains that they did not even try to hide their behavior. Their gatherings were filled with shameless acts, their streets were full of corruption, and travelers passing through their land were often harassed. Groups would sit along the roads, stopping strangers, robbing them, and humiliating them. What was once a peaceful and blessed land had turned into a place of injustice and moral decay. Seeing this, Prophet Lut came to his people and spoke with concern. He called out to them, saying, "My people, fear God. I bring you a message that is meant for your good." But many of the young men laughed at him. They replied proudly that the goodness of their city flowed through its streets, and that they had never asked for guidance from a prophet. Prophet Lut then reminded them that the rise and success of nations come through faith and righteousness, not through pride and corruption. The leaders of the city replied with anger. They said that the tall walls of their city were built by their own hands, so they did not understand what faith had to do with their strength. Prophet Lut answered gently. He explained that when human nature is destroyed and people go against the natural way created by God, even the strongest cities cannot last long. The people mocked him and challenged him to bring the punishment he warned them about. To them, the words about God's punishment sounded like nothing more than talk, but they did not realize that when God speaks, It is not just a conversation, it is a decision. For a long time, years that passed from one generation to another, Prophet Lut continued to stand in the same streets and markets among the same people. Every day he repeated the same message: fear God, leave this unnatural path, and return to God's mercy. But the answer from the people remained the same. They mocked him with pride and arrogance, saying that their bodies belonged to them and no one had the right to stop them. Watching all this became a deep emotional and spiritual burden for Prophet Lut. Like every prophet facing the hardest test, he finally turned to God with a prayer and asked for help against the corrupt people of his city. From that moment, the winds of God's decision began to move. One day, angels came to Prophet Abraham in the form of human guests. When Abraham saw them, he welcomed them warmly and respectfully, showing the traditional hospitality he was known for. He quickly prepared food and placed it before them. But when he noticed that the guests did not touch the food or reach out their hands to eat, a line of concern appeared on his face. The angels understood that a question had entered the heart of the friend of God. They then revealed the truth and said, "Do not be afraid. We are angels sent by God." They also gave him good news: the future birth of his son, Isaac. Hearing this, Prophet Abraham's heart filled with happiness, and a smile of gratitude appeared on his face. After giving this joyful news, the angels revealed the purpose of their journey. They explained that they were going to a city that had become deeply corrupted and filled with shameless acts. In that city lived a prophet, Lut, and they had been sent to destroy the people who had crossed every limit of wrongdoing. Prophet Abraham, who was known for his mercy and compassion, asked if there might still be a chance for those people to be guided to the right path.
Please, for the sake of the innocent, show mercy.
The word has gone out. It cannot be changed.
But the decision of God had already been written. The time given for guidance had ended, so the angels left and traveled toward the city of Sodom. They arrived at the home of Prophet Lut in the form of human guests. Soon, news spread through the city that visitors had come to his house. The people quickly gathered and rushed toward the house. Loud voices filled the streets as they shouted and demanded that the door be opened. The young men said that they wanted to welcome the guests themselves. Prophet Lut tried to stop them. He advised them and reminded them to fear God. He asked them to leave and not harm his guests. But the people shouted back that they had no interest in his advice and demanded that the guests be brought outside. At that moment, the angels revealed their true identity. They told Prophet Lut not to be afraid, because they were angels sent by God, and the people could not harm him. They instructed him to leave the city during the darkness of the night with his family, except for his wife, and not to look back. They told him that when morning arrived, the punishment would come upon the people of that city. When the people of mercy left the land, the beginning of punishment rose from the same place. Then the command of God came. The earth began to shake. Houses started to collapse and turn over. From the sky, marked stones began to fall. Each stone came with its own target and its own guilty person. According to some narrations, the entire city was lifted from the ground and then thrown back down. Stones rained from the sky everywhere. The high roofs of palaces could not protect anyone. The power of leaders failed, and the wealth of the people could not save them. The people screamed and ran in fear, but their pride and their sins were buried under the falling stones. Finally, the moment came when God turned the entire city upside down. Every road, every street, and every house was overturned. The names of the cities disappeared, the paths vanished, and the people were gone. But the event itself was not erased, because God made it a lesson for all generations to remember. Share your thoughts in the comments. What lesson did you take from the story of Prophet Lut? If this video made you reflect, don't forget to like and support the message.